Times were tough, so I sold my soul. And I don't think I'll ever regain control. Devil looked me in the eye, and I looked the other way. What else could I do? I just stood at the doorway, knew I'd rather be drunk with you.
Hey Internet, Dracofunk here, and welcome to my 100 subscriber special. This is also part of my reusable space program, although this isn't the most reusable part. Just eject that back docking port. Yeah, there we go. And now the front one that I forgot to remove. Yeah. Reusable. Alright, so last episode, there was a little bit of an accident, and the locomotive portion of the Rover train heading to the South Pole broke. So they need a new one. So let's go ahead and send one over. So I've constructed this aircraft, and ideally, I should be able to dock this in here. So I had to have it attached when I spawned it, and I just took the landing gear down and closed the door and detached it, and now all I gotta do is drive it to the front, or drive it into the back of the aircraft, and there's a docking port on the inside. Let's see if I got my alignment right. So I've been playing with the alignment to get it right, and this is the first time I got it to actually dock. And I'm like, hey, let's just do it. So I'm going to transfer the crew of the Rover. Who do we got? Surdrid and Kenny. And they are going to be our pilot and engineer. Just get them transferred to the cockpit. I think this is the K-21. So I will speed up the footage here, but let me just mention something. So I got it docked, and I took off towards the Rover train. I have previously not tested this craft. I pretty much constructed it, got the docking port correct, and I took off. I did not know if this craft would actually fly, if I'd gotten the center of gravity, or center of mass, and center of lift aligned. I didn't check that at all. And there are a couple other things that I thought about after I took off that I probably should have done. Honestly, taking off, I have no idea. I had no idea if this craft would fly. I don't know if it has enough fuel to get there. I did no testing on this aircraft at all, other than getting the docking port inside the cargo area lined up. So, that's kind of fun. And normally I have a specific save where I can test things, and I probably should have done all my constructing in that save and then tested it, but I didn't. This is in my main save, the main save of the reusable space program, because YOLO. That's just what I did. There was no testing of this, and there probably should have been, at least a little bit. And I'm flying during the night also. I don't know why. I pretty much wanted to get the Rover train repaired as quickly as possible, and I threw all caution to the wind. No testing, very little planning. It's the Kerbal way. The good news is that it seems like this aircraft is, I'm able to control it okay, and it's not going through fuel at a terribly alarming rate. I seem to be able to fly it at a pretty good pace. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to make it there. The one thing I am slightly concerned about is the reason I'm going there were the hills where the Rover train are a little bit treacherous, which is not a good place to land an aircraft. So I'm going to probably have to land a little bit away. Little bit concerned with how dark it is, because, trying to land in not good terrain in the dark is not a good idea. But oh well. So I'm getting closer. I kind of was going to the right a little bit of the target of the Rover train, but now I'm flying pretty much straight towards it. I'm just trying to manage my speed and altitude to try and get the best flight characteristics. I feel pretty confident. I think we're pretty close at this point. And this footage is sped up to 4 times, but I did everything, obviously, in real time. And, I'm pretty happy. Okay, we got a little bit of a good ways to go, but that's okay. So, it's about this time, it occurs to me, I did not put any air brakes on the aircraft. But that's probably okay. So, I can now see the continent where the Rover train is located. And the other good news is it appears the sun is rising, just not quite quickly enough. But now I'm trying to actually lower my altitude and reduce my speed a little bit, just so I can start looking for a landing spot. Now that lake directly in front of me is around where the Rover train is. And it is about here I come to the realization that the aircraft at low speeds, I have a hard time controlling it. So once it starts going down, I have a hard time getting it to pull back up. So I want to come in and start looking for a place to land. And the Rover train's somewhere down there. I believe it's probably hard for you guys to see. And right here, it's like, wow, that was really hard to pull up. So I want to kind of find a flat. This looks good. So I'm going to show this to you in real time. It's about now that I realized I couldn't pull up, and I hit the ground a little bit harder than I meant to, and I have lost 2 engines and the wingtips. And I'm going very, very fast. And kind of having a hard time slowing down. And see how bumpy the ground is right here? The other thing that messed me up is the speed indicator switched to target. And I wasn't sure how fast I was actually going, and that probably led to some of the accidents. But you know what? I have landed. The cargo is secure. We'll worry about the aircraft later. Now I'm trying to figure out best way to transfer the crew back. And I realized, hey, you know what? I can just open the top cargo hatch. That way I can look right in on it and disconnect the docking port. And Kenny's going to drive. Whoops, I forgot to take out Surdrid, or whatever her name is. But she can just climb on the old-fashioned way. Now, I am actually quite a bit ways away from the location of the Rover train. And I'm going to have to drive around this lake. So another thing I've noticed is the Rover train driving by itself pretty much, well, Rover train, the locomotive portion of the Rover train driving by itself generates enough electricity to keep itself going. So I might want, I think I need to bring a new power car over there to the Rover train to help it generate more electricity. The downfall that I've had is I can only drive for about half an hour before I start running out of electricity. And that might change with the conditions of the terrain. It might be better, it might be worse. But either way, I'm just not generating enough electricity to keep all the batteries charged. Which you would think if the locomotive can generate enough electricity, and all the cars are basically built on the same chassis as the locomotive, that they all should be able to generate enough electricity together to keep the whole train going, but I guess that doesn't actually work. But that's okay. So I'm having to drive all the way around that lake and kind of keep an eye on my terrain. My strategy is going to have to be I need to scout the way I'm going a little bit better. And the coastline is turning out to be not a good place. The other problem I'm having is the Enlightener aircraft. Where it landed, there's not enough mineral density to actually mine there. So I'm going to need to do a short flight somewhere else for fuel. But the immediate concern is that the rover train itself is just in this bad location. I almost drove right down into that big crater-esque area. So the I'm just going to have to go very slow to get the rover train into a better location. And I'm not sure what the best way to do that is. So I'm just going to have to kind of look around and find an exit. And my biggest fear is that I'm going to have to go around that big mountain range where I had intended on going between the mountain range and the coast. I may have to go much further inland. But the reason I didn't start out that way was the route to get off of the ice was worse that way. But hey, we've made it to the rover train, and we're going to park here for now, and in the next episode, we will connect everything and be on our way. Thanks for watching. Hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks, guys.